Unitary government is an arrangement of political union in which most or all of the supervisory power is in joint government, as opposed to bureaucratic state. Short treatment from the union state followed. Especially the central government usually appoints power to subnational units and channels various strategy options to them for implementation. Most of the states in the country are union frameworks.
Assalamualaikum. My name is ZULIKHFAN Bermakna. I am from AM110 and that's my part is I want to tell you about the advantage that I found. It is a unitary government can easily replicate unitary state, a system of political organization in which most or all of the governing power resides in a centralized government, in contrast to a federal state. In a unitary state, the central government commonly delegates authority to subnational units and channels policy decisions down to them for implementation. A majority of nation states are unitary system. They vary greatly. Great Britain, for example, decentralized power in practice, tough not in constitutional principle. Ultimately, all local government in a unitary state are subject to a central authority. Besides that, the government is centralized in a unitary structure. It can place satellites at virtually any location very quickly. This makes it possible for every citizen to have access to government resources. In addition, the unitary state can govern the entire country from a single location with a minimal number of elected officials.
My name is Muhammad Aiman bin AHMAD. The second advantage is unitary government also creates societal unity. A unitary state or unitary government is a governing system in which a single central government has total power over all of its other political subdivisions. A unitary state is the opposite of federation, where governmental powers and responsibility are divided. In a unitary state, the political subdivision must carry out the directive of the central government but have no power to act on their own. In a unitary state, the central government may grant some powers to its local government through a legislative process called devolution. However, the central government reserves supreme power and can revoke the powers it devolved to local government or invalidate their action. As an example, of the 193 member countries of the United Nations, 195 are unitary states. The United Kingdom and France are two well-recognized examples. United Kingdom is composed of the countries of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. The third advantage is it encourages the government to be smaller instead of larger. This is supported by a series of studies conducted by the Small Business Administration. The entrepreneurial spirit is alive and strong with the desire to invent. It may come as a surprise to hear that the smaller the company, the more patents are submitted per employee. This is true regardless of the company size. A government based on unitary standard tends to be smaller and more centralized than the other kind of government, even with the satellite branching out from it. Those in support of the concept of small government argue that it's better bet as it concentrates on a few but important attribute of the society. The very fact that it doesn't monitor a wide range of sectors means it can concentrate on the important sectors and govern them with utmost efficiency. A big government, for instance, has the burden of protecting the basic rights of people as well as corporate, as a result of which it becomes difficult for any such government to bring out accountability in the society. That's all from me.
Another point is costs can be instantly limited or expanded as needed. Costs can be instantly limited or expanded as needed because the central government has the authority to create or discount at a moment's notice. It becomes possible to operate on a balanced budget at all times. This government can increase expenditure immediately when resources are needed, such as during a natural disaster response. It can also decrease expenditure immediately to ensure that taxpayer funds are being spent without the creation of deficit. Further level of government create lower costs as well. Cost is divided into three, which is profit, productivity, and improving standard. Profit is the baseline of the cost increases in profit margin, which is the most sought after advantage. The company will willingly or unwillingly perform the reduction in order to increase the profit, which will be used to invest in other business. Productivity at the same level. Cost reduction increases productivity since the employees who have been in comfort zone for a long time get the signal that company is into micromanagement, and right now it could be process, but going ahead it could be micromanagement of employees as well. Improving standard is the cost help in improving standard of the processes, since improvising processes affect the nature of working of current processes, which improves standard of formation of the product. These are the example of cost reduction, which is cut business travel. Cut business travel is whether it's to attend exhibitions, settle business matter, or just participate in gathering at other locations. Many people gather a lot of miles because of business trip throughout of the year. According to U.S. Tourism Association, direct spending on business travel by domestic and international tourists in 2019. During financial difficulties, organizations should strive to reduce business travel by at least half. Leadership should focus on identifying and maintaining only the most profitable reason for business travel.
The advantage number 5. Unitary government is a form of government that is highly responsive. With a unitary government, there are fewer impediments to a quick reaction because authority is concentrated centrally. If the government believes it is required to be present in the given area, it can rapidly install the necessary infrastructure. This form of structure is one of the fastest and most efficient in the event of a threat or a disaster that has to be dealt with. For example, the government of Japan has donated 1.24 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine for Taiwan on June 4th, and the United States of America also donated 2.5 million doses of Moderna vaccine on Saturday. It is because the shortage of vaccine in Taiwan has become the main concern that the nation faces. The donation that has been made by Japan is to face the all-out obstruction effort by China. Japanese current and former Prime Minister have worked together to pay back for Taiwan's substantial aid when Japan struck by earthquake in 2011. Another example is that how did the Japan keeps the COVID-19 under control? This is because the fast response by the Japanese government to close all schools and cancel all public events. The Japanese government also contained the virus. Despite they have the capacity to do 6,000 tests per day, Japan only tested around 14,000 swabs to date. This is because they want to just contain the virus, rather than conducting a widespread test. For example, when the pandemic exploded in a primary school at the northern side of Hokkaido, they closed all schools and declared the state of emergency in the prefecture. When Japanese meet with each other, they do a bow rather than handshake or kiss on the cheek. This is the basic hygiene that has been taught from early age. Hand washing, gargling with a disinfectant solution, and donning masks are all things they do on a daily basis. As a result, when the virus initially spread in February, society was able to quickly convert into anti-infection mode.
Regulation and law are standardized. Regulation is anything that requires people to make decisions after they have considered a subject. It must be made by a majority vote. The rule must be followed properly because if not, the necessary punishment will be applied. The establishment of a coordinate government and the emergence of regulatory are two contemporary ideas for increasing the changes of regulation. Guidelines for the law. Meanwhile, the government mandate that certain standards such as product safety and environmental protection be adhered to in order for it to be utility in the long run. Meeting the standard entails performing everything with significance, whereas if there is no legal standard, it is still possible for function effectively. To avoid misunderstanding, the new law that will be passed must be well examined. Thank you.
And the last advantage that I want to tell you it eliminates the need of a local or regional legislature. More than any other aspect of U.S. government structure, federalism contributes significantly to innovation in state, local and national government alike. However, it is unlikely that the contemporary impacts of federalism in post-industrial America were fully anticipated by the framers of the U.S. Constitution. The adoption of a federal form of government at the outset for our nation's history reflected an appreciation for the cultural heterogeneity that characterized the original 13 states. It will demonstrate how a variety of incentive structures propel state and local government toward greater open-mindedness, experimentation, and learning from experience than is generally the case with the national government.
The conclusion that all issues concerning the country share certain similar issues. People are constantly to blame for the difficulties that arise. Countries that choose a parliamentary system will be more cautious in deciding on any course of action so that the problem does not escalate and disturb daily life. The state does not enact any law without first determining the root of the problem. They will also continue to talk in order to come up with the solution. A state that has complete power over everything is known as a union government. The United Kingdom and France are two of the countries that are currently under union authority. The situation is incompatible with the association system. The association system offers their administrative system ability to handle their own internal right. Each governing system has its own set benefits and drawbacks.